Hello there. I want to talk to you today about purpose is the power of life. You remember in my book, 10 Words to Change Your Life. This one is number 4, purpose. Nehemiah 6:3 is our passage. So if you've got a Bible, turn with me to Nehemiah. And let's come to chapter 6, verse 3. Actually, we should read verses 1 and 2 to prepare for that third verse. When word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies that I had rebuilt the wall and not a gap was left in it, though up to that time I had not set the doors and the gates. You see now, Nehemiah is rebuilding the city of Jerusalem. He's rebuilding the walls and the gates. Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message. Come, let us meet together in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. But they were scheming to harm me. Nehemiah knew that. So I sent messengers to them with this reply: I'm carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you? 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. Purpose is the power of life. A medical doctor at the University of Vienna once wrote these words. He said, there is nothing in the world which helps a man surmount his difficulties, survive his disasters, remain healthy and happy as the knowledge of a life task worthy of his devotion. Wow. A purpose. He went on to say, you cannot be happy and buoyant and victorious in life unless you believe that what you are doing has meaning. Hence my title, Purpose is the Power of Life. And there are 3 reasons that I want to give you in this message why purpose is the power of life. It's the power of life because it lifts us up in 3 critical ways when everything else would put us down. Number 1, purpose is the power of life because it lifts us above criticism. Every one of us is vulnerable to criticism. Every one of us is vulnerable to criticism. We're sensitive to social approval. And we all have pressures on us to conform to something other than our natural, usual, internal self. It's all a part of the human scene. We're all that way. However, nobody has ever gone very far in the Christian life or in anything else demanding excellence without running into what Nehemiah faced. And that was the envious ridicule of lesser men. Seems to be an unwritten law in the human equation. Thou shalt not be different. The minute one begins to be different, to leave the beaten path, to rise above the heads of the pack, he becomes the target of those around him who are envious and suspicious and malicious. It's just the way things are. Why are there so many critics and mudslingers? Why do some people set out to smear and downgrade others? There's a simple answer to that question. And here's that answer. Mediocrity hates excellence. A clean life is a quiet rebuke to a soiled one. The writer Dean Swift put it like this. He said, "Censure is the tax one pays to the crowd for being better." Censure is the tax one pays to the crowd for being better. And it's important for Christian people to understand this. Let somebody begin to act better, think better, behave better, and the crowd will try to make him pay the tax on it. But there's an answer to this, and Nehemiah had it. This is what he said, "I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down." He had a trowel in one hand and a sword in the other hand. And he was building God's kingdom and keeping God's peace. And he said, "I won't disintegrate and come down to a lesser level." When a person's found his place and he knows in his heart that he's doing God's will and what God put him on the planet to do, he's immune to the praise or the blame of the crowd. Whether they throw roses or sling mud, doesn't matter. He's got his purpose. He's doing a great work, and he cannot come down. I heard the sound of music again over this holiday Christmas season. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. God has a dream for all of us. Each of us has a place of excellence, and we need to find it. Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream. I've been to the mountain. I've seen the future." That was his dream. It was a purpose bigger than life itself. Abraham Lincoln was attacked for a supposed blunder in the conduct of the Civil War. He was getting bombarded from everywhere. Newspapers, colleagues, government people. One of his officers came into his presence one day holding in his hands official papers that proved that Abraham Lincoln was innocent of what he was being accused. And he begged Mr. Lincoln to allow him to make those papers public. The president looked at him, and here's what he said, and it's been recorded for posterity. He said, "If I were to try to read, let alone answer all the attacks made on me, this office might as well close for any other business." He said, "I do the best I can, and I intend to keep on doing it until the end of my tenure. And if the end brings me out wrong, 10 angels swearing I was right won't make any difference." He said, "Soldier, get out of my office and get on back about your business." Purpose is the power of life because it lifts us above criticism. Purpose is also the power of life because it lifts us above futility. Futility, what's futility? How many people do we all know who live pointless, aimless, futile lives? The first Christian sermon ever preached It was by Peter on the day of Pentecost. It dealt with futility. Peter urged his hearers to accept Christ and be saved or delivered, lifted above this untoward generation. Untoward. Let's go to the board and see if we can put that on the board somewhere. This untoward generation. UNTOWARD. We don't use this word much anymore. It's an old word, but oh, what a powerful word. That means none, not, no, toward. Not going toward anything. It's so simple. It's ridiculous. Not going toward anything. No purpose. No passion. No meaning. No target in life. How many people do we know in this generation who live dreamless, purposeless, pointless, aimless, futile lives? They're just tossed here and there by wherever their lusts or their desires or people's pressure takes them. Someone said this is a perfect description, this word untoward, of life for millions today. Meaninglessness. Here's what a Rockefeller report recently said. It was on education in America. He said, what most people want, young and old, is not merely security or comfort or luxury. That's not why we go to school. That's not why we burn midnight oil. That's not why we work so hard. What most people want more than anything else is meaning in their lives. That's the Rockefeller report. What does that mean? It means a purpose bigger than ourselves. It means a goal greater than pleasure or prosperity or power. It means a mission to match the eternal character of our natures. One of my heroes, all-time heroes of the ministry, is E. Stanley Jones, a medical doctor who became a missionary, poured his life out for Christ in India. He said after preaching in colleges and universities all across the United States of America, here's what he said, 4 things. He said, I believe the present generation of American youth is the finest our country has ever produced. Wow. Secondly, he said they are taller in body, better trained in mind, and more wholesome in attitude. Boy, this is sounding good. Then he said, but they are lacking in one great essential. When asked what that was, Jones said, a sense of mission. A sense of mission. They have no great compelling purpose to lift them above futility. His words, not mine. And this brings us right to the heart of the whole concept of salvation. To be saved means basically to be made whole. It doesn't mean just to be delivered out of something and put somewhere else. It does mean that. But in the process of the deliverance and the replacement out of sin into salvation, out of fear into faith, something happens to us in the transition. And there's a healing that takes place. There's a wholeness that comes. There's a filling in of all the cracks and the crevices of our broken nature. Salvation means making back into one that which has been split apart into pieces. The essence of sin is alienation from God and myself and other people. That's the essence of what sin is. It's alienation. When Jesus comes in, He unifies our scattered, aimless lives. And He gives us purpose and direction. And He puts meaning into every small detail of our human task. Purpose is the power of life because it lifts us above criticism and it lifts us above futility. And finally, purpose is the power of life because it lifts us above discouragement. Discouragement. Ecclesiastes is a book in the Old Testament which precisely describes the discouragement that we see on every corner of our generation. The writer of Ecclesiastes shows us that life without God is not worth living. Life without God is not worth living. He tried it all. Pleasure, wealth, and knowledge, the three great triumvirates, or the triumvirate of three. Pleasure, wealth, and knowledge. He'd experienced it all. But he found the more he got, the less he wanted it. In spite of everything he acquired, he still remained empty. Because it just didn't satisfy, it just didn't make it. And here's what he said when it was all said and done. He said, I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and behold, all was vanity. Now, one of the meanings of vanity is empty, but vanity means more than just empty. Empty means that you worked hard and you focused on all of this, and what you've come up with is not what you thought it was. But vanity is a bigger, uglier, nastier word. It means that it's made everything I've ever done and worked for empty along the way. Our century is drenched in pessimism. It's drenched in defeat and discouragement. The big bomb might go off. Any minute, we might be gone. We have the potential, and not just we, but most major nations of the earth, to destroy the planet. So why not riot? Why not wreck? Why not ruin things that are around us? What does it matter in the long run if we're all going to go up in a puff of smoke? Who knows what tomorrow brings? Why strive? Why save? Why strategize? Just eat, drink, and be merry. Forget about doing good, being right, helping others. Well, there's a reason. There's a real reason. And a blind, deaf, and mute person, genius person, made it so clear one day, several decades ago. Her name was Helen Keller. Here's what she said. She said, many people have the wrong idea about what constitutes real happiness. It's not attained through self-gratification, she said, but through faithfulness to a worthy purpose. Did you get that? A woman who could neither see nor hear nor speak, but who's an acknowledged genius in the Western world. Many people have the wrong idea about what constitutes happiness. It's not attained through self-gratification, but through faithfulness to a worthy purpose. The gospel of Jesus brings us a message of hope and purpose. It says, you're made in the image of God, and God loves you, and He has a special purpose for your life. You're no accident. You're not here inadvertently. It says, you're no accident, but an extension of God's purpose in this world. Remember Romans 8:28. It says, God causes everything in your life to work together for good, ultimate good, to those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. It says, live and link your purpose with the purpose of God for your life, and He'll lift you above every discouragement. Purpose is the power of life because it lifts us above discouragement. Well, there we've got it. Criticism, futility, discouragement. All of them bow before purpose. Connect today with your purpose. God has a great purpose for your life. He created you and He put you where you are, who you are, when you are. Rise to the excellence of your life that God intended and placed inside you. Be all that you can be in Him, the power of purpose. God bless you. May these words resonate in your spirit. Bless your life. God bless.
This has been brought to you by Ron Cottle Ministries. For more information, please call us at 706-256-0100, extension 217, or visit our website, roncottleministries.com.